I also want to finalize my presentation by a short case study from my own area, namely Tartu ICT cluster, which I was chairing for a couple of years, and to kind of tell you a story how this was developing and what we learned from it. I skipped the slides about the Estonian IT background. As you know, we have been quite good in Estonia for our foreign guests to update different IT solutions. But what I really want to speak about is the story of Skype, in particular case of kind of getting the Tartu IT cluster going. And what happens there about 4 or 5 years ago was that when Skype was actually bought from the founders of Niklas Sennström, Jaanus Friis, and 4 Estonians by eBay, they embarked on a quite ambitious way of enlargement, and they started looking for a number of new employees to enable this growth. And of course, the development unit of Skype was based in Tallinn, but they decided then that they would set up another research unit in Tartu, in the city where I come from, and try to hire programmers and software engineers from the region. What happened then was that they made a very simple advertisement for getting people to come to work for Skype. You know, those removable advertisement boards which you can put behind the car. They rented a couple of them and put them standing in front of the software companies in Tartu on the windows, the biggest ones like Playtech or WebMedia, and the message on those advertisement boards was very simple. It said, "Come to work for Skype, we pay more." And obviously after paying, eBay was paying for almost $4 billion for the company, they were not short of cash. So what happened was that until that moment, the IT companies in Tartu region, they didn't really have a lot of cooperation going on, because everybody was having their customer base, their market share, so there was no need to so to say try to do something together. But then suddenly they had a common threat. They had a very powerful company coming, putting the advertisement in front of their window and addressing the most valuable asset in software industry you have, your people. I would say that it's even more, to a certain extent, it's even more valuable than your customer base, because without people you cannot do anything, and they were directly threatening to take it away and pay more. So the leading software companies came together and said, we must do something, this cannot be accepted, this cannot, we are going out of business. Well, when the discussion followed, what happened was that the strategic objective what was set for the cluster strategy was how to turn the situation from so-called game theory term zero-sum game to win-win situation. And what is meant in game theory by zero-sum game is a situation when if one side wins, then the other side has to lose equally much. So the win and lose balance is always zero, and that's called zero-sum game. So they were asking that how can we make this situation that Skype is setting up a research office in our place, how could we not be the losing side, but how can we be the win-win situation? And well, what happened, well, there was a lot of course, problems, troubles, and so on, but in the end of the day, they realized that joint efforts must be undertaken to make the cake bigger, that if we are competing about the skilled people, we just have to get more skilled people who are able to work in these industries. And joint project with the University of Tartu as well as a vocational school was started, and to refocus the curriculum of those institutions to make it more adapted to the needs of software industry, as well as make the training and retraining quicker. And this has been a quite successful case in that sense. Indeed, the university was forced to change its way of educating people, and it was actually is nowadays done together with the companies themselves. So what I want to say is that it seems that clusters have a kind of magic way of balancing a very opposite forces like cooperation and competition. They bring in a certain way them together so that whether you're competing or whether you're cooperating, in both cases you will benefit from it. And if it's the right cluster dynamics, in that case you have in both cases you have a win-win situation. That the competition is good for you. You have to so to say develop your products faster, and the cooperation is also good for you because you have common problems to address. And I'm skipping the following slide, of course, because you're not cluster experts. And if any of you are interested in how to manage clusters and how to make it more effective, of course, there are a lot of literature. One of the cluster managers guide, which I have been preparing myself together with my colleague around Europe, is a practical guide how to run clusters. There are certain areas you should focus on, and well, there are certain basic steps which should be followed. But let me finish by an illustration, if I get it working here, to kind of make the points that, oops, this was not right one. Let me see. Oh.
The English believe it's a slur on your host's food if you don't clear your plate. Whereas the Chinese feel you're questioning their generosity if you do. At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge. Which is why we have local banks staffed by local people in more countries than anyone else. HSBC, the world's local bank.
So the point I wanted to make about this Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation advertisement was that you can have the best intentions, but if you don't know the context and dynamics, you can get things. Basically, what I was saying is that if you have clusters in mind, they are certainly good for innovation, but you have to have the bigger picture in mind to see that why exactly they are good for and how can they benefit your region. So sorry for being, I think, 1 minute late, but thank you very much for your attention. And